Hi there, my name is Tatiana and you're watching YouTube channel You Can. Today is February 9, 2022, and this video is for beginning gardeners. If you are a seasoned gardener, most likely you will not find anything helpful in this video, as this video is for beginners. So I'm located in central Pennsylvania, zone 6B, and today is a beautiful sunny day. The weather is warm, 52 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you're like a lot of people who either garden or are starting to garden, this kind of weather makes you want to go out and dig in the soil and maybe plant something. The question is, should you or should you not plant anything right now? This winter has been decent in the sense that it has been nice and cold and we've gotten quite a bit of snows. And as you can see, part of my garden has thawed out. That's the place where the sun shines the most. And then I have the other part that is still covered with a good layer of snow. So obviously we will not be planting into the garden because the soil is frozen, and in order for seeds to germinate, they need warmth. So anything you plant into the soil, unless the soil is warm, the seeds will simply either stay until it gets warm enough, or they will rot, or they will get eaten by insects. So if you're looking to start your own seeds, there's a couple options. One is you can start them in your house. Second option is you can build a hotbed in your garden and wait until the soil warms up to roughly 50 or so degrees Fahrenheit. Or if you have a greenhouse, you can utilize the warmth and the sunlight in a greenhouse to start your seeds. So I'm in the greenhouse. Outside the temperature is 52, and in here it is a little over 100. So you can see how greenhouses really warm up and are a good place for starting seeds. So the cons to planting seeds indoors, meaning in your house. So in order for seeds to germinate, they don't need sunlight, they need warmth. But once they have germinated, they need ample amount of sun to grow properly and to grow strong and healthy. So if you plant seeds indoors, they germinate, they start growing. Up to a certain point, you can keep them inside and kind of maneuver around your house maybe and take the seedlings to areas where there is sun so they get the most of sunlight in a day. But after a certain point, they will start reaching for the sun and getting long and skinny and lanky. And that's kind of where the problem starts, because once those seedlings start reaching for the sun, they become stressed. So if the soil is not warm enough at that point, you will basically be trying to keep dying seedlings alive. And then when it is time to plant them outside, when the soil has warmed up, they will have been so stressed that they will be behind in their growth. So the advantages to a hotbed in your garden over planting seedlings indoors is that they will get ample amounts of sunlight because it is outside. And there's many different ways that you can make one. Basically, it's a either wooden box or a glass box filled with soil with a glass top. And basically, it just heats up with the sunlight, and the seedlings can germinate because it's warm enough, but they also get enough of sunlight. But let's say if we're, have very heavy frost, you could be running danger of freezing your seedlings in a hotbed if it gets really, really cold. Planting in a greenhouse is the best option pretty much. Or buying seedlings from a greenhouse that has grown them for you to the right size, and you can just buy them from there and plant them into your garden when you're ready to plant. So let's say you decide to go with the option to plant seedlings, whether it be in your house, in a hotbed, or in a greenhouse. The question is, what should you plant right now? So like I said, it's February 9th, so it's a while until the weather gets warm enough for the soil to thaw and to be able to plant the seeds outside. So the cabbage family plants, that would be your Brussels sprouts, kohlrabi, cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, the red and the white cabbage. All of those love colder temperatures. So if you start them right now and the seeds germinate and the sprouts get big enough, you can actually plant them into your raised beds or into your garden and cover them with a floating row cover, and they will do just fine if there's a little bit of a frost or if the temperatures drop to near freezing, because like I said, the cabbage family actually prefers to grow in a cooler climate. All right, so aside from cabbage, there's also things like spinach, arugula, and radishes, beets, and carrots that don't mind the cold as much. So if you were to cover a part of your garden or raised bed with floating row cover or black landscaping fabric, just to help heat the soil up just a little bit, you could plant them directly into the soil, and they will germinate and grow if kept lightly covered, even in a couple weeks from now. I do not recommend planting things like carrots, radishes, and beets into things like this, or we call them cells, because carrots, radishes, and beets are what we call a tap root. Basically, it's a long root that has smaller roots off to the side. So plants that have tap roots don't generally like to be disturbed. Once they start growing, they like to keep on without disturbance. So if you plant them into a cell, you will have to pull them out and then plant them in, and that stunts their growth quite a bit and stresses the plant out. And besides, you don't need to create extra work for yourself. You can just plant them right into the garden and not have to worry about watering the cells and making sure they get enough of sunlight and taking them out of the cells before they get too big. So here I have a cell tray, and I planted all of these, let me see here, on the 4th of February, so roughly a week ago. And you can see there's a lot of little green sprouts, and these two rows here are kohlrabi. And then I can see the kale is starting to pop through, and the cabbage is kind of not visible. I don't know if it's going to germinate or not. And I have more kale and kohlrabi and some lettuce here. But I had last year's seeds that were left over, so I just kind of dumped them here in big amounts because I wasn't sure how many of them would actually germinate. But it looks like the bok choy is doing very good. It's actually, there's clumps of it, so I will have to be transplanting that into bigger cells here soon. Plants love water, but not too much. Actually, I have these trays setting on a heat mat. Basically, it's a small, thin mat that has like a electric wire or something going through it, and it heats the cells, the soil up, so that the seeds can germinate better. So just to tie everything up, right now is a good time to plant seeds in a greenhouse or in a hotbed. If you will be planting seeds in your house, it is probably good to wait a couple more weeks, just because they will germinate and they will start growing, and they will need to be transplanted into the garden before the garden is ready to be planted because of the frosts. So again, if you have a greenhouse or if you have a hotbed, right now this week or even the following week is a good time to plant any cabbage family plants. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, hit a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you.